Welcome back to On-Ayer, everyone. I'm your host, Ryan Ayers. Have a kick-ass show in store for you today. Earlier in the week, the college football selection committee came out with the playoff rankings, and really just want to break that down. Usually the first couple are there just for water cooler talk, and so I'll bite. And the first two teams I don't have a problem with, Alabama and Clemson. They went on and played an epic national championship game last year, but I want to break down 3, 4, and 5. Everyone has been talking about it in the media all through the week. Third is Michigan. Fourth is Texas A&M with a loss. And surprisingly is Washington, all the way out on the West Coast, believe it or not, in fifth place. You know, it's easy to come out and say it's East Coast biased, and sometimes that is the case. And I really come off scratching my head all week breaking down the schedules. You look at Michigan and Washington. That's really where I want to focus this show on today. You look at their non-conference scheduling, and it's almost equal when you look at how far out these schedules are actually put in place. You know, I don't truly believe Washington, when they scheduled the Rutgers football team that they played earlier this year at home, was looking for a cakewalk of a game. And when you look at Michigan's schedule, no one knew Colorado and what they were all about, what they were going to do this year. They came into this season, the Buffaloes, 5-40. That was their record in conference play before 2016. So when Michigan is scheduling Hawaii, Central Florida, and Colorado, they're looking to schedule all non-conference cream puffs, in my opinion. And, you know, if you want to say the same thing was going on with Washington, having Rutgers, Portland State, and Idaho, okay, you know, I'm fine with that. That's a wash. So when you have a one-loss Texas A&M team in there, I just don't see how that is right. Washington is undefeated. Michigan's undefeated. They have fairly basically the same scheduling practices. I heard Brady Quinn last night in the Colorado-UCLA game talking about Washington is getting penalized because they didn't go out and schedule tough non-conference. Well, you know, when they scheduled that Rutgers game, it was probably around the time Greg Schiano was still chopping some wood and still win 8, 9, 10 ball games a year there. So I don't, like I said earlier, think that was really Washington's motive. But when Michigan, on the other hand, gets lucky with how Colorado turned it around this year, you break it down and look at when did Michigan schedule that game. It was when Colorado was going through one of the most turbulent times in the history of the program, and they just weren't winning a whole lot of ball games. So I really want to compare Hawaii with Portland State as equals. You know, when you're scheduling the two teams out, Rutgers and Colorado were virtually the same. You know, and Idaho and Central Florida, pretty much a wash. They're all equal in terms of that. It comes down to politics with my final opinion on what has taken place in the first college football playoff standings. And Michigan has the name brand. Washington has always had a quality name brand, but it's always going to be trumped by Michigan and teams like that, or Ohio State and USC. But when you look at the way the scheduling took place, it was just bad luck for Washington. And you know what you've done? You've just angered who I believe is the best college football coach in the country right now. You heard it here first, is Chris Peterson. You know, he's had a couple quality programs in Boise State and Washington, and look what he's been able to do. If he ever got a part of the real big boy elite programs like an Alabama or a Texas or a USC, he would be able to do, I think, wondrous things. And so you've just gotten that guy's attention. They're only one spot out, and I get that there's still a full month before the final playoff standings come out. But I'm sure Cal is not particularly excited to play Saturday night against Washington, because Washington's already dropped 70 on an Oregon football team, and they're looking to put up some impressive points at this point, you know, because they don't want to miss out on something that's really special. Let's be honest. If Washington goes undefeated and they're left out of the college football playoff, there's just no point in watching come the first of the year, because I truly believe, and not just because I had them in my preseason Final Four, I truly believe that they are at least the second or third best team in the country. Jake Browning is going to be a Heisman candidate next year, if not already this year, and Chris Peterson is one of the top 5 for sure. There's no arguing that, college football coaches in the country. So watch out for Washington. You just got under their skin a little bit. The East Coast bias, I truly believe in this case, is not being overused. It is what is taking place here. Their schedule matches up with Michigan's. And one final point. You know what? Michigan has not left the state of Michigan, but only one time this year, and that was to go on the road to play that Rutgers football team. So you leave your state one time, and it's already November, and you're considered one of the Final Four teams. I'm sorry. I know we have to let it all play out, but they should not be considered right now. It should be Washington in that spot, the third spot. And with that, I want to let you know you've just been on air, and I am Ryan Ayers.